Government at Work Media team. Today we come to the communication strategies in State House. We cover education, both basic and higher education. Today we're there with Mr. Fonti. We will tell you much about the activities where government they undertake concerning human development, human capital development. We are the great agenda of this new direction. So, Mr. Fonti, tell them much about the student loan, how you get for other than get for benefits from answer.
Well, thank you so very much. Government at Work. First and foremost, need for acknowledge the fact say you guys are doing a very good job. Wherein as a try for highlights the positive strides them with the brand new direction governments they take. So we appreciate Una a lot for that. And as you rightly don't introduce me, Abdul Fonti na my name, and me na the communication strategist in the office of the president, where they in charge of education and social development sector. Now to the question of Sierra Leone student loan scheme. We all go recall say where His Excellency retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio become the president of the Republic. In first address way he make na Parliament. And we get for clearly spell out say one of the things them where the brand new direction governments get for embark on now for establish higher and technical education institutions and graduate with good results with no fault of theirs because of the reality that the country they're not able to get employment. All of those issues are being discussed. And the initial plan is is going to be a grace period of at least 2 years after the students don't graduate. Within that 2 years period, now the student loan scheme not just they look at the possibility of just offering money to students then for go educate themselves and pay back. The student loan scheme is also looking at the possibility of engaging the private sector, of engaging the youth ministry, of engaging the National Youth Service, for example. For say, what if we do them this way? When the students them don't graduate, we enroll them, all the student loan scheme candidates them, we enroll them into the National Youth Service. We engage the private sector for try to find jobs for them. So all of the things here so are part of the discussions we currently they happen. And also on the legislative side, this thing therefore go through Parliament. We currently they work on the legislation where we get Lawyer Mewa. We are in the lead that they for put a document together where we will get for present as a legislative document to the Parliament of Sierra Leone, where the Parliament get for discuss them and then the Parliament get for agree. Finally, for me, we get the student loan scheme. We will look at early next year for start the student loan scheme effectively if everything go on as planned. So this not a thing like we just
at Work Media team we want to know. The concern of people them say how people them will able the repayment, how people them go and do how this government will able allay the fears of people and say yes, government go hold the student loan to beneficiaries them and indeed they will able repay this money to government where government will go find it very difficult for retrieve this money.
Alright, so make I tell you this. For establish the student loan scheme, the government of Sierra Leone through the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education currently constitutes a student loan scheme committee headed by Mr. Paul Amara. This committee gets a 6-month mandate. And waiting at the terms of reference where this committee supposed for do. One, the committee supposed for engage in their ventures there we did right now. With our communications and public relations venture for sensitize people them across the country for make them know say student loan scheme they come. The brand new direction government don't come with student loan scheme. Then secondly, the committee gets a mandate for engage stakeholders conference. So currently that committee they get a 6-month mandate. And inside these 6 months the committee they engage with various stakeholders. Be it higher education institutions, be it technical education institutions, be it NACIT, be it the banks, be it immigration, be it the students, various. There is no free higher education institution any sign in the world. So whilst the government will want to help students then, for access education and for able to finance their education. You get for also look at the sustainability, and you also get for look at the numbers of people with the government be the benefit to the granting aid. I will tell you, say the maximum number will be the benefit through the student granting aid now 2,500. In the government be they agree for pay for through the granting aid. So the government thinks that number is small, because when you check the number of students them the higher education institutions them over 15,000. If you check all the private and public institutions, then they talk about over 35,000 students there. So with a program like the granting aid, we be done the all this while where the benefits only 2,500 picking them, and where the higher education institutions they get challenges for even get the money back from the government. We demand fit say for introduce a student loan scheme with an initiative wherein the governments they provide financial support in the form of loans for students there, for go through their higher education, for go through their technical and vocational education, and after they don't attain this education, then graduate, then start for work, the governments go able for recover that money they back by relation between the Anti-Corruption Commission and the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education. A document was born, and that in the Sierra Leone grants in aid policy, we jointly formed by the Anti-Corruption Commission and the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education. What are some of the things that we did inside that policy day? First and most importantly, now for make people then able to get an awareness, for make people then know for say granting aid day. So any term we granting aid or any scholarship where the government of Sierra Leone they offer inside this new direction government and inside this new policy with the advertiser. Electronically, with the advertiser at the ministry, in websites, with the advertiser at the ministry, in Facebook, with the advertiser on radio, with the advertiser on television, so that everybody will know say scholarship opportunity don't come. And secondly, whether opportunity they don't come, we also they ensure say there is going to be a committee, there is a scholarship committee. Where inside that committee there you get civil society, you get ministry officials, you get anti-corruption officials, you get various officials, you get the higher education institutions, you get the technical education institutions. They form that committee there. So not to let that term them where the ministry na no more get the power, or say the minister will come with your list, or the list will come on a party office for give people them the granting aid. That time they don't pass.